Afternoon, friends. Ash here. Actually, morning, friends. Ash here. WAT News with another election and news update. It's December the 15th, 2020. And this is coming out of Gateway. It was systemic purposeful fraud. Clark County, Nevada Dominion machines also kicked out about 70% of ballots. It was in the settings by Jim Hoft. In a huge development on Monday morning, Michigan Judge Eisenheimer gave attorney Matthew DePerno permission to release the results of his study on the Dominion voting machines by IT experts with the provision that he make a few redactions, and we covered that. DePerno said the redactions weren't that relevant. There's the report. From our report by Patty McMurray on Monday, after the forensic examination of 16 Dominion voting machines in Antrim County, Michigan Allied Security Operations Group has concluded that the Dominion machines were assigned a 68.05 error rate. DePerno explained that when ballots are put through the machine, a whopping 68% error rate means that 68% of the ballots are sent for bulk adjudication, which means they collect the ballots in a folder. The ballots are sent somewhere where people in another location can change the vote. This was a very significant finding. The Dominion machines were set up to dispute 68% of all ballots. This is election fraud. And now it appears this was not an isolated incident by Dominion voting machines. The same thing happened in Clark County, Nevada. Clark County, Nevada election officials also happened to report an error scanning about 70% of ballots. The error rate scanning ballots in Antrim County, Michigan was 68.05%. Dominion voting systems are also used in Clark County, Nevada. Clark County, Nevada election officials also happened to report an error scanning about 70% of ballots. As attorney Matthew DePerno noted that this Dominion voting setting was an intentionally and purposefully setting error. President Trump tweeted this morning about these tremendous problems being found with voting machines. Tremendous problems being found with voting machines. They are so far off it is ridiculous, able to take a landslide victory and reduce it to a tight loss. This is not what the USA is all about. Law enforcement shielding machines. Do not tamper, a crime. Much more to come. Donald J. Trump, December 15th, 2020. So, I wanted to look into this a little bit more. This is the tweet that was linked in that article from the person Kanioka the Great, Dominion, Nevada. The error rate scanning ballots in Antrim County was 68.05%. Dominion voting systems are also used in Clark County. Clark County, Nevada elections officials also happened to report an error scanning about 70%. And we're going to go look at this in a second. I'll read it here. All mail ballots in Clark County were counted first by running them through a digital scanner. If the scanner cannot read the ballot or determine the voter's intent, the ballot is sent to an adjudication or duplication team, both of which are overseen by a bipartisan election board. County elections officials have said about 70% of ballots are sent to be reviewed by elections officials. So if that's true, then you have a 70% error rate, right? That's not good. And this state sent a mail ballot to every single human being in the state. This is from Las Vegas Review Journal, and it's talking about, the article is How Are Nevada Ballots Counted and Verified? And this came out, this is by Rhonda Prast, November the 6th, 2020. So nearly 600,000 of Nevada's general election votes have been cast by mail. In this election, about half of all reported votes, that's more mail ballots than have ever been cast in any previous election in the state. Elections officials have said mail-in ballots are safe, and Nevada's Republican Secretary of State Barbara Sagavsky testified this year that her office did not find any fraud during the state's primary election, which was conducted almost entirely by mail. Under Assembly Bill 4, passed during a special session of the legislature in August, all active registered voters in Nevada were sent a mail ballot. So here's another state that, did they legally change the law of the legislature in their state? We'll have to see. It appears that they did it in the legislature, which appears that that's the way you would do it, right? So here's the details of the ballot counting and verification process according to information provided by the Nevada Secretary of State's office. Ballots in Nevada are counted by local elections officials, the county clerk, or the county registrar of voters and their staffs. Statewide voter registrations are overseen by Secretary of State Barbara Zagavsky, who works with local officials to ensure elections are conducted properly. Under state law, observers are allowed to watch the counting process, and have done so in this election. Well, that's yet to be determined, right? Some people have claimed they were not given access in multiple states. I don't know about this state, but we'll have to see. This is the part I wanted to read. All mail ballots in Clark County were counted first by running them through a digital scanner. If the scanner cannot read the ballot or determine the voter's intent, the ballot is sent to an adjudication or duplication team, both of which are overseen by a bipartisan election board. County elections officials have said about 70% of ballots are sent to be reviewed by elections officials. So this, to me, looks like you're admitting that 70% of your votes are sent to adjudication, which means that there's errors in them. So if that's true, then what's going on with the machines there? We haven't found that out yet, but we have to figure it out. Why are so many of these votes being sent to reviewed by elections officials, and are those ballots being reviewed by these people in a bipartisan group, or is some other process being used that we don't know about, and these ballots are being taken to an alternate location where no cameras are showing what's being done, right? That's the thing. What's the chain of custody of these ballots, and how can we prove and be sure that they're being kept in the chain of custody and they're not being altered in some way? All voting equipment used in the state, including mail ballot scanners, has to meet or exceed the federal voting system standards. It also must be independently tested to determine if it functions correctly. Independent testing is performed by the Nevada Gaming Control Board. Isn't that the same people that handles all the casino stuff? Clark County uses the Agilis ballot counting tech. All mail ballots had to be postmarked by November the 3rd or dropped off at a ballot drop-off location by 7 p.m. on Election Day. Counties have until 7 days, November 10 after the election, to receive ballots in the mail, but only ballots postmarked on or before Election Day will be counted. That just seems to me like a way to scam the system, right? Because we've already seen that some people in the post office were backdating all these ballots, right? So how many of those ended up being backdated? How many of them are received on time? How many of them are real? I mean, we've heard people using casinos as their address, using RV parks as an address that can't be used, using P.O. boxes as addresses that can't be used. All kinds of information out on these ballots. That's probably why they're getting such a huge rejection rate or error rates in them, because a lot of the ballots aren't filled out properly and they're just hastily filled out, which some people would think that there's fraud there, right? Because why wouldn't you fill out your ballot properly, take the time to vote and do the right thing, especially if you're mailing it in and you have all kinds of time to figure it out, right? To fill it out. So that's that. I also just wanted to include this in the links. I'm reading this right now. This is from Black Box Voting, and it's Chapter 2 of something written by Bev Harris, and having to do with from blackboxvoting.org, which is Bev Harris's site. So if you're interested in like looking into like different things about the voting system and how it's been compromised and stuff like that, you can go to blackboxvoting.org. And they have all kinds of videos you could watch. This is founded in 2003 by Bev Harris and others. And it has all kinds of really good articles about like election fraud. Here's Fraction Magic, which I posted that a while back. This shows you how they can, how they mess with the GEM system, and they could turn the votes into decimals and fractions. And, and that was one of the allegations, right? That in one state I heard that the algorithm was Biden 1.25, Trump 0.75, right? And this talks about how your vote is turned into not one vote for one person, and that's what this is all about. We're trying to get a system in place where one vote is for one person, and you can't cheat, right? You can't inject ballots and things into the system. I mean, we're really at a point now of this two movie scenario is about to end, right? You can even see Mitch McConnell today was talking about Mitch McConnell saying, hey, man, I think it's Joe, right? He's even coming over. So you're seeing the mechanisms of the deep state in work. Many judges are controlled. Many people are controlled. And you're seeing them all thrash around right now because their world's coming to an end. That's what's going on here. And the end of a very corrupt system that's ruled over you your whole life and has ruled over the world for thousands of years is coming to an end. So just revel in it, and the hive mind will defeat these people, because the more we share information, the more they can't control it, and the less that they can control the flow of information, the further the faster their demise will come. Because once you can't control the information flow fully, then the information becomes free, and the truth stands alone as the truth, right? It doesn't need any explanation. So with that, friends, I wish you peace and love. See how all this stuff plays out. I'll include all these in the links, and we'll have to see how it plays out in Nevada, right? Looks like they might have a high error rate too, so I have to see. So with that, friends, have a great day. This is Ash, WAT News, signing off for now.